Dear Venerable Sirs, Dhamma friends, we are going to have another Dhamma talk. May everyone settle down for the talk and give the consent with 3 times. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Namo tasse bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhasse. Namo tasse bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhasse. Namo tasse Bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhasse. Punacha parang udaayi akhatamaya yata patipanna patipada me savaka chattaro iddipadi bhavinti ti. Dear Venerable Sir, Dhamma friends, we are proceeding along the same particular discourse we have selected as the main topic for this retreat, namely the Maha Sakuludaayi Sutta. After explaining the 4 foundations of mindfulness, at the end of that chapter, Buddha is explaining that itself is enough. Sometimes some people to go towards the consummation of the direct knowledge, access to the direct knowledge. And if there are any something lacking or further fulfillment, he has to develop the 4 kind of ways of striving, and in order to not to arouse unarisen defilements, and for that he has to get an effort or give a zeal or desire for that, and have a try, and then exert effort, and then you have to make your mind very tough and exertion and striving. So slowly you are trying to keep the stream of consciousness which is pure, not to get defiled with the next moment. So it's a very responsible task, or moral responsibility, or rather responsibility towards your moral or mental health. Of course, it is the physical health also. As well as if you find any kind of defilements already in the stream of consciousness, you must try to get rid of that, and for that you must have a zeal, and you must do some trial or try for that, to get rid of that, and give effort. It never go by itself. So you effort in meditation jargon. That means you are reverting back to the primary object as much as possible. That is the way to do away with this already arisen defilements. And for that you have to exert the mind and strive. So this is how any fulfillment necessary for the 4 foundations of mindfulness, you help support. The third aspect is try unarisen wholesome states to arise. For that you must try. You must have a desire, chandanjanedi, a zeal. And then you must make a try. And then make effort, and exerting energy and striving, because when and where mind is free from defilements, your foresight is increasing. You can see the depths, or you can see the 3D as far as the mind, the defilements are less. So under such circumstances, in simple language we can say, you are a good person, but you can see better options. Under such circumstances, despite being good, you must strive for the better. And if you are not taking that chance, thinking that I am a good person, why should I give up my good for your progress? What is hindering is your goodness. Your goodness is hindering you because you never ready to give up at the in order to gain the better. So therefore, if you are not making a zeal, if you are not make a try, if you are not make effort, if you are not exert the mind and strive, you will be stagnating as a good person just in front of the better option, and that is very common when you look at the society. Not only the meditators, even in other spheres, they have better opportunity, but they never think about, because they feel secured in this non-goodness, and therefore they are not risk lovers. They hate vulnerability. They do not know how to make use this opportunity and be radical. Any person in any field know the opportunity in the vulnerability and radical reflection and how to make use the better. He is the leader. He becomes the leader. So this is the way one has to understand unarisen wholesome states to arouse, and once that wholesome state come into being, you must try to titiya, asammosaya, establish it and continue, expand and increase in quantity and quality. And for that also, you must have a zeal. You must try. Because that needs at the beginning kind of a facilitating the already arisen thing to arouse. Otherwise, if you are not facilitating it, it finds very difficult. Something like when you are growing a crop, after preparation the ground, once you sow hybrid seeds, they are weeds and crop is fighting for each other for the sunlight, fertilizer, water. So the farmer should understand to get rid of weeds and give a chance for the growing crop till the crop is going to give a ground cover. Once their leaves are grown and take the ground cover, then weeds will be suppressed by itself. Till that, farmer has to do 1 time, 2 times, sometimes 3 times, removal of weeds and accumulating some soil to the root of the crop. And that is how cultivation continue. Likewise, you have to let the crop grows and the weeds disappear. And when that taken trend, you have to maintain it. That is how the striving, 4 kinds you have. And when that happens, you may find that in order to achieve it, there is not only single method. The Buddha is proposing there are 4 methods, maybe 4 kind of people. So therefore, if one tactic is not working, you must not give up desperately, disappointed way. You must try other methods. That's why it's called, this is 4 bases of success, or ways to success. 4 ways to success. And the Buddha says, whenever, for example, whenever you try to keep the primary object face to face, maybe all the time the thoughts are coming and distracting you. Or external sounds make you bewildered and distracted. And your pain in your sitting posture or in the walking posture, that itself can make you eccentric. Under such circumstances, the Buddha come out and says, there are 4 methods or 4 ways to success. Chanda samadhi padhana sankara samannagatan iddhipadam bhaveti. He is trying to gain the concentration basically with the zeal or desire, never give up. So this is the kind of people, they saddha, or kind of people with have a lot of faith. They never give up the task, do it again and again. Chanda. Chanda means a more improved kind of faith. It's a kind of practical faith. selected this is to be done and it is distracted or the kind of a eccentric but never give up. Chanda Samadhi Padhana Sankara Samannagatam. He developed the concentration due to zeal, determined and striving. Do again and again with the zeal. So this kind of people also with a lot of unsuccessful events, ultimately due to the repetitive application of the zeal or the chanda, no one on the earth cannot be see through by repetitive application. That particular person is applied out of zeal. Do it again and again and again and again. So that is one way that you can reach the success. For example, if you get failed in your exam, you are applying again. You are applying second time, third time, fourth time, if you are given. And ultimately, some or the other, you go, you pass the situation, and when you are learning target shooting or archery, first time no one can. There is something completely new here. But you have your zeal to do it, repetitively doing. All the others may laugh at you, telling that you are doing something impossible. But you have, do it again and again with faith. And in Sri Lanka, you know, in the Sinhalese New Year, we have the national games and we have the grease ball. It's a very good place. It's a laughing stock. People, the grease ball is there. Any people can give a try. Moment you go there, you slip and fall down. And again, another person will go, he will go one step ahead, and then whenever he touch the grease, falls down. So likewise, so it's everyone is laughing at. But ultimately, there is a group, or there are few people never give up. Keep on doing. They have the zeal to do it. So they ultimately get the flag on top of the pole. So this is a kind of a chanda or faith. They know at the beginning everyone is laughing at, but slowly removing the grease in the pole, and you can climb just like a normal tree. So therefore, Chanda Samadhi Padhana, you develop kind of a concentration only by repetitive application. At the beginning, you never think that this much of daydreaming and fantasizing, there will be any kind of a concentration on the primary object. Or with this much of sounds around, and your mind is perturbed by sounds, you never think about any concentration with face-to-face with the primary object. Or here and there you have pains. Different people complain different things, but repetitive application with the zeal is definitely you are bound to get little by little more samadhi. So therefore, the Buddha gave a particular name for that samadhi, Chanda Samadhi. You gain the concentration through your faith. That concentration is known as Chanda Samadhi, and likewise Virya Samadhi. You have energy. Incessant way, you apply again and again. If you feel exhausted or discharged, leave it for a while and again recuperate and try again. So that is also kind of a samadhi you can gain by repetitive application. Virya, and they are in the Maha system, this Virya Samadhi is easily attributable to the noting. Whenever you are bewildered, whenever you are eccentric, and if you wish to keep the object desired in face-to-face, note it again and again. When you are repetitively applying, noting, naturally the distance between the object and the noting mind will be reduced. So this is called vitakka, or applying thoughts This is a very common aspect in teaching or in attending, getting the attention of some other person. In advertisement, everywhere this is the one it is happening. Repetitively, it is when you are applying, the other person do not know how it happens. You develop kind of a attraction. Ultimately, they come closer and closer. So therefore, if you know the art of noting or labeling, you can have a selective absorption, note whatever you like, or otherwise, mind is bewildered. So it says when class teacher come and start attending the marks, present, absence, presence, he or she will call by name. So that particular student raise hand and say, yes, I am here. So if no one is not coming, it is absent. So it is like calling by name. And when you are learning A, B, C, D or the teacher come and write few letters and keep the rule to one particular letter, and all the class, the Montessori class, telling this is A. And again, keeping the ruler there, again A. You see the shape, you hear the sound, and then it is easier to remember. This is called kind of a establishing your perception. Repetitive perception. So that is also sometimes you can make the primary object face to face, because primary object naturally is not very much attractive to your mind. Due to the faith you may have some desire or some zeal to keep the primary object face to face, but whenever it becomes little by little familiar, the boredom sets in. Or monotony sets in, then your faith is not enough sometimes. If you have enough faith, definitely that will give frills and thrills. You will be more and more associating with the primary object. Sometimes it is not there. Under such circumstances, you have to help support that situation with repetitive noting or virya. So, if you do not know these tools, what is the Buddha presented, then by one or two, you will get desperate, or you will become disappointed and give up. So therefore, your theoretical understanding of these, at least names of these tools, is important. Then you will never give up. Instead, you will try again and again. So that kind of a concentration you are earning through this repetitive noting is called virya samadhi. That kind of a striving, padhana, sankhara samannagatam, as a kind of a determination, striving, keep on noting, there also you can gain more mindfulness. More mindfulness means concentration. And the third kind is chitta, samadhi padhana sankhara samannagatam, iddipadam. Whenever the mind becomes determined, go resolute, then easy for you to have that particular object. So this is happening not in the early stages of your meditation. And once you have certain amount of experience, particularly with that primary object, you know right from the beginning it is not easy to be with the primary object, but early you have good memory and your mind is determined. Even though it is difficult for right from the beginning, later definitely it is going to become very tamed. I can be with the object. So you go with that clarity of the mind. Then only that the object become tamed. And for example, when you are taming elephants and the cows and the horses, the particular person when go there, that elephant or that cow, the horse, don't make much trouble. But if a new person goes there, they are not easy to tame. So therefore your determination, your past memory, success also make determination and clarity of the mind. So with that you do, and that is much frequent in residential retreats. Very difficult for you to develop that kind of thing when you are doing in the household life, because your trends are often breaking and you have no much determination, but you have disappointment. Under such circumstances, you right from the beginning you feel sour taste or astringent taste, but when you come to new places, what we do is give more precepts and ask you to wear white, ask you to follow the timetable, and to forget about all the other things, asking to depend upon what is given. Under such circumstances, your mind become more yielding for this kind of spiritual life. Very difficult that you to have back at home. That must be a separate organization. And when that happens, your determination power or clarity of the mind, some people gain concentration through that also. For that kind of people, they say, when I go to that place, my mind is concentrated. When I go to that time, my mind is concentrated. That by application only, applying only, you have to understand. When Godwin was there in the Nilambe, he says, when you come to Nilambe, you are naturally concentrated. The atmosphere is such, or we can say, good vibes are there. More people are naturally meditating. So when you go there, if you are inspired by this atmosphere, that itself make you concentrated. So therefore, the Chitta Samadhi Padhana Sankhara Samannāgatang Iddhipadang, some people attribute it to your past life. You have kind of acquaintance. Therefore, whenever the situation or variables come in align with, naturally the concentration happens. So, therefore, even if your faith or even if your energy is not yielding, when you keep on applying, one day the constellation or background itself will give the clarity in the mind or determination. That concentration is due to the clarity of the mind, and you can determine and you can strive through. This is also, you can cut through the distractions. And once you gain this kind of a skillfulness with your clarity of the mind, you understand with that determined striving, the distractions are very minute. When there is no such a concentration due to the clarity of the mind and determined striving, the distractions are very big. Your mind become very tiny little thing, very difficult to give a fight. So, but when you keep on practicing, one day there is a distractions and your mindfulness come in par with, and then only you are developing your own ways and means. You know, under such circumstances, what should I do? And it never come in a quick way. Slowly, you gain the momentum, and ultimately you understand you can do away with the distractions and you can be with the primary object. So when that happens, you are earning your own tool bag or your own base and means. And Pandita Sayadaw used to say, if you are a poor meditator, if you are striving for 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, you are developing so much of tools, ultimately you will be a very good master. And it is in Sri Lanka, it is very common. Whenever you fail an exam, you will be a good tuition master. If you fail in the same exam 10 times, and you know how to teach, but he never passed the exam, he will be a good person to teach others. So he says in Burma, there are some people, they cannot be ordained because of there are some of the bad things. Something eye is not properly working or ear is not properly working, so they cannot get into the order. So they behave like non-householders. They strive, they are walking here and there with a brown suit and a pope-like cap on their head. So whenever they go to a meditation center, they must be accommodated. 3 days you must accept them as a visitor. Because they are 10 precept holders, sometimes 8 precept holders, and rather they have magical powers. And they are doing mystics and astronomy and all the kind of thing. When such a person comes, the monk, they are not giving all the facilities, just showing a place to sleep. And telling this is the toilet, this is water, that's it. And then not only that, monk has to tell where to go in the alms rounds. So he's a newcomer to the place. So for example, such a person come here, I would say you go this way and they will get the junction, first junction, and turn into the left and you will meet another left, you will be back in the same junction. So instead he take the right junction. And people pouring rice, each and every house, they feel it. Whenever he goes to ask person where to go back to Nissarana, first what he do is put little rice. And ultimately his whole bag will be filled and overpouring, still he can't find the path. Everyone thinks he is coming over begging food. But he is preaching the people to ask the way back. So more and more you get bewildered, your bowl will be more and more filled. So in the meditation also, if you are striving 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, you will be full, you have a full bag of Dhamma. Everything you know what to do and where to do. So there is a kind of a capacity, you will become a good master. Any person tell any question, you know. You have undergone it and you can remember, that is the task, that's the way it has to, that's the way you have to apply. So therefore, whenever you get the clarity in the mind, you understand each and everyone gain this clarity of the mind by striving. The general clarity when you are at birth, it is not enough for the Nibbana. It is good enough for other worldly knowledge, but when you are learning, if you have a big mistakes or a lot of wrong paths you have taken, you will be a very good master and you can help a lot of people, those who are striving, those who are coming along your way. So therefore, any mistake you do in your meditative life, never go in waste. So you have to understand to report it. And it says the weighing the advantages and the disadvantages. If you know it, each and every mistake is saving another person's mistake. So you must have understanding how to use it in the practical way and relate it to the newcomer. Then your versatility is increasing. So, for example, the main two disciples of the Buddha, Maha and Maha Moggallana. Maha Moggallana is a very quick wit and he became an arahant within 2 weeks. But Venerable Sariputta was contemplating. He ultimately contemplated everything, living and non-living in the semi-continent of India. Therefore, he was delayed to become arahant. Moggallana he was in a quick way, he went to it. But whenever some newcomer happened, only the Venerable Sariputta can understand his question and give the answer or give the meditation instruction so that he can come to the first Maggapala, and then only Venerable Moggallana take from the first Maggapala to the second, third, fourth. So there are two qualities. More time Venerable Sariputta took so that he can apply and he can be a counselor for many character traits. So Pandita Sayadaw, he sometimes says some people are too much with daydreaming, fantasizing, thinking. Instead of practically applying their mind, they are very much engaged in this fantasizing, daydreaming. And the Sayadaw sometimes says, this is Western mind. Western mind is always thinking, and very little they do direct application. And the mind with the full faith, they never think, they don't worry about that, they just apply. And they have no that inquiring or thinking mind. And even then, after categorizing this thinking type of people, daydreaming, fantasizing is something Western, and the faith and other type is something Eastern. He says, very difficult, be careful not to look down this Western kind of mind, which is thinking, because that's the type Venerable Sariputta is. So if you are criticizing Venerable Sariputta. In this asana, both of them are valid. Both of them can go through. Once you gone through, seen through, you can use the way that was disturbing you as a technique. You can teach others the way you went through. So therefore, Chitta Samadhi Padhana Sankara Samannagata, concentration due to clarity of the mind or determination, and then you strive through. So this is kind of endowment. Your early achievements or past lives. So therefore, you may be very person with lot of energy. You may be noting and try to gain the concentration. There may be another person came late and sit, and he can achieve that samadhi without much of striving because of his the past merits or his clarity of the mind right at the beginning, and therefore very difficult. Even if you are practicing under the same teacher, same meditation object and the same way, same timetable, some people cut through. Some people become very delayed. So you have to keep that open. And sometimes your very mind also sometimes become very faithful. Sometimes it's gain the success through energy, sometimes through the clarity of the mind. Whenever you earn this through the clarity of the mind, you feel so thankful for the people, to your meditative object and your place and everything. But that particular Chitta Samadhi Padhana Sankara Samannagata not working throughout your life. Once it happens, next day it will not. Under such circumstances, you must understand how to note and exert energy and get the concentration. Or not to lose your faith and keep on practicing. Then, through the faith you can gain. The last one is the Mimamsa, that is the inquiring mind. So, you can gain the concentration due to an inquiring mind and determined and striving. That's the kind we call the wisdom type. These people are really with the quick wit. Each and every mistake happening, they know how to find a reason to be glad and then cut through. So this is the present day highly appreciated, because when the meditation come into the present day situation, many do not have regular timetable or residential retreat. They wanted to know what are the short-term benefits, long-term benefits, and technique as such for the meditation. So these Mimamsa type of people with the inquiring mind, definitely they can cut through and get some first-hand experience for the first time, and they will be highly elated to feel it. And the question is how often they can repeat it, how often they can apply again and again. So if he is with the healthy mind, he will understand even if you can get very sharp, very important experience through this inquiring mind, he must appreciate your faith also. Otherwise, only through the wisdom, he can get the balance. He has to weigh your wisdom with the faith. And you must have the wisdom to do the tasks, to facilitate the faith aspect. But some people, wise people specifically, they undermine the faith and ultimately they want to go only through the Mimamsa, only through the inquiring mind, and they never change their likings and disliking. They are not ready to accept precepts. They are not ready to do religious activities. So ultimately the balance will be sick. And the virya and chitta also, they are two different things. More and more you have energy, the clarity of the mind will be reduced. More and more you have the clarity, sometimes lack of virya or lack of energy, sleepiness can set in. So for all kind of thing, the mindfulness must be there to the weigh it. So therefore, all these qualities, chanda, virya, chitta, mimamsa, you must be, whenever the unsuccessful event happen, you must understand not only by one way, so to say, only through the zeal, or only through the energy, or only through the determination power or clarity of the mind, or only through investigation. You have to find what is appropriate. And it is very difficult, unless otherwise you associate a person for a long time, to understand his or her character type. Under such circumstances, a teacher can directly advise, do this, you are such a person, this is what going to work. But if you have the theoretical understanding, and if you have deductive knowledge, then you can try, even without the teacher, your theoretical understanding will help promote or help suggest to what is the next best. So therefore, if you are not going to achieve your ultimate consummation of the perfection of knowledge through four foundation of mindfulness, you may try the 4 ways of striving, and you try these 4 ways of success or basis of success, and therefore this application going to give you alternative suggestions. And this is not only important in your understanding, but if you are to support others, if you are to guide others, there you must understand not to prescribe only one path. Instead tell, the Buddha is such a versatile person, teaching is such a versatile, even though I suggest this, there are 4 methods. Though that must be a quality of the teacher to just tell. Therefore the Buddha says, many disciples are venerating me, respecting me, revering me, and live in dependence upon me, because I am telling 4 systems, 4 methods, 4 ways of success, 4 ways to success. So that means his teaching is universal. It's not confined to one particular thing. So, but present day, when you find meditation techniques, many are very narrow-minded, stereotype. Any person practice other methods are considered as enemies or something completely wrong, telling I am the only correct person, others are wrong. That is because they don't know for the same target, there are a lot of paths. Ultimately, it is going to the same target, but at the beginning, different paths are there. So, understanding that is make you more opportunity. And Mahasi Sayadaw, he was very, very pioneering in presenting the present-day Vipassana. He says that when you are going to give a restricted access to the beginner, very little people will at least give a try. But if you can give a vast area, many people will come and try, and they will find different methods suitable for the launching capacity, starting capacity. So therefore keep everything open. And Buddhist, non-Buddhist, residential retreatants or the non-residential, everyone must take trial. And when we are striving, one or the other will come successful or lead to success. So therefore his openness was very, very critical for the Buddhism to go to the West. Otherwise, by that time it was completely confined to Asiatic countries. And he never confined it to the traditional Buddhist minds, wanted to keep it open. When it's keeping keep it open, you have to appreciate the Buddha's multivarious methods in order to achieve same thing. And simply you can say, whenever you become mindful and choiceless awareness, not only to your object of meditation, your methodology also, you must have choiceless awareness. If the chanda is not going to work or your zeal is not going to work, try with energy. If the both of them are not going to work, wait till the mind become clear, or determination power, or inquiring mind. So that openness also must be there, and for that discussion is very important. When you are discussing, some person will express his or her success. But that is not the way that you are trying. But you can't deny it. So therefore you can think that this is also an alternative method. And ultimately you can, when you are in a trouble, when you try, you may find that is working. So in my case, early part of my meditation, I never had any formal education on Buddhism, no any formal teacher, no, there were no any kind of a primary object. And when we were in Nilambe, I tried to be aware, that's all. And the simple guideline was the discussion. Any person is coming to the meditation from 7:30 to 10 o'clock evening, have a cup of tea and discuss each other. When discussing, you can see the same thing you can achieve through different methods. It is not confined to one particular thing. That indicates the Buddha, teaching of the Buddha, the result or success if you need, it is not depending on single variable. It depends on multiple variables, and that due to the alignment of the multiple variables, not only your appointed success, there are a lot of other byproducts. So this is the one drastically killed in this linear method of education. Linear method of education attribute only one thing. So then where's the chance for the inquiring mind or 3D understanding? But here, the Buddha says, if you wish to achieve any success, don't confine it to one. There are a lot of variables. So always keep it open. You may be successful, practical, pragmatic in one, but you can't deny others. There are other people with different character traits, they can. And you yourself also, one day, under different circumstances, you may try that. You may be successful in that. So that is how more you practice, more you understand the Buddha. And what does it mean by success here? One thing is the Nibbana. But on the way, you have to have a lot of tools. Of course, the 4 limbs of success also a tool. And next, the Buddha explained, not only that, I explain, Sakuludaayi Akata Maya Savakana Patipada Yata Patipanna Methavaka Chattaro Panchame Indriyani Bhaventi. The Buddha present on the way on to your Nibbana, instead of Nivarana or instead of hindrances, there are 5 good qualities going to introduce into your spiritual life. That 5 indriya, or that means that 5 kinds of spiritual faculties, when they are happening, that's a very clear indication your hindrances are disappearing. For example, you must have kind of a faith, or to be religious, you must have kind of a faith to be spiritual. And it is not a coincidence, yes. So when you come to face-to-face with a teacher or satipatthana or mindfulness establishment and maybe technique as in-breath and out-breath, your faith that leading up to that moment is not enough to have your breath face to face with, and to keep companionship with your teacher, and to keep on practicing, that very faith must be reinforced and very then and there using. So therefore, when you are in meditation, your very faith will shed off its old skin and it will be renovated in a new way. So therefore, the meditator who is using the faith is not unfounded faith. It is not just mere superficial faith. You are learning kind of a faith upon your own striving and how to keep the primary object face to face. And by doing, through failure and success, you develop kind of a faith that is always go wherever you go. Other kind of faith is in one particular place or one particular time. That is called Okappana Saddha. That is penetrated kind of faith. So when that is happening, you must understand more and more the sensuous pleasure, more and more the hatred and the sleepiness or sloth and torpor, and past and the future eccentric nature, and the doubt disappears, kind of a faith is happening. That faith, the Venerable Dhammika, when he is teaching, he told, that kind of a faith, even if you are born in the next life with parents, those who do not have faith, you are carrying that, and under such circumstances, that child carrying that kind of a faith. Because in this life, you are not in the superficial faith. It is not unfounded faith. You apply yourself, but you are not enlightened. And you have the faith upon your capacity, your mistakes or your achievement. So that faith is become Okappana Saddha. That's a very clear indication. Your 5 hindrances are disappearing. Instead, 5 faculties are coming to be. So that kind of a faith, the Buddha, he says, if you have given very serious thought about Dhamma, in the Sotanuddhata Sutta, the Buddha says, Sutta Dhatha Parijita Manasanupekkita Dittya Suppatividdha. Not only you are just hearing, but you keep in your mind. And understand or try to digest, is it practical? Can I put into practice? And yes, you put into practice and you see here and there, I can be mindful and I am developing kind of a, my own kind of faith. And under such circumstances, if your death going to happen, even if your last minute with the bewilderment, you are in a completely disoriented, that very faith develop out of mindfulness, never leave you in disturbance. It is always try to keep it in a very good destiny in the next life. So therefore, when and where you apply this, your attention to these 5 faculties, through mindfulness, they are reinforced in such a way, even under troublesome situation, it take care, take the guardian, and even in next life, you will never go to the nether world, and when you go there one day, you will think, how come that my death happened in a completely in a uncontrolled way, in a calamity and without any governability, but I come here. Then the Buddha says, you may remember, in the last life, you had a little bit of mindfulness. You may remember it, that is called Satuppada. You understand, this is my guardian. Whatever the difficulty, leave aside any difficulty or disappointment in this very life. So therefore, the faith, the faculty of faith, arisen due to mindfulness is not the faith that is unfounded faith or just superficial faith. So therefore, even the Buddhism, it says faith is very important. All the other religions, we call faith is important, but only the faith in the Buddhism is verifiable. It's a very remarkable feature. You can verify itself, but the other faith end up with the same faith. There is no chance to verify. But when and where you apply mindfulness with that faith, you can see the mindfulness, it is things as they are. It is repetitively when you apply, it is reconfirming and verifiable. Not that you are enlightened yet, but you are definitely sure your faith is increasing, and faith is not depending on any person, anything, anywhere. It is depending on yourself, or here and now. That faith is helping you in any difficult situation, because that faith or the spiritual faculty of faith is reinforced with mindfulness. So that is why if you have any kind of loving kindness or any compassion to you or to any person, the best thing you have to understand is to teach them, do whatever you do, never mind, do mindfully. Ultimately, he or she will develop if they grasp the idea properly. Definitely they will develop the efficiency, they will develop the job satisfaction, they will develop lack of frustration, and mindfulness also increasing. And kind of a faith arising, not on the Buddha, please remember, not on the Sangha, not on the Dhamma, not on the precepts or morality, but on mindfulness. So ultimately that particular person can be a believer of Buddha, but don't impose these things. When you are introducing mindfulness, develop the mindfulness upon your own, develop the faith upon your own mindfulness. It's very radical way of presentation. But it's possible. Don't ask, so Upanishad Sayadaw, when he is traveling, he says, when I'm conducting retreats, majority are non-Buddhist. So, when I going to say, please follow the Buddha, please respect him 3 times a day, they will say, we are not following individual. We have no any habit of paying respect to the individual. Are you coming all the way to tell us that? If it is so, better you go back. So he says, therefore I am not telling to pay respect to the Buddha. I say, don't worry. It is not venerating a person. But what about his teaching? What about his teaching? It is a philosophy. It's a theoretical thing. Then you can have kind of a, you can win some of the faith of the Westerners when you present it. Then the Sayadaw says, but you may happy to deal with Dhamma rather than Buddha, but you have to understand 84,000 units you have to learn. Dhamma is a colossal. So therefore, within 7 days, how can I teach you all Dhamma? Dhamma is good. Therefore, may you agree, the main sutta that I am going to teach is Satipatthana. It is representing the whole Dhamma. Do you believe it? Or otherwise have faith. Satipatthana is the sutta I am going to teach you. It is talking about the whole Dhamma. Then you are convincing him with the 3rd time. And they say, Satipatthana with the commentary itself is a very thick book. I can't teach you within these 7 days. So would you mind, everything is one single term, mindfulness? That I can teach within 7 days. So therefore, I am not a missionary to Buddha. He says, I am only Dhamma missionary. Dhamma also not easy to give in a capsule or nutshell. You have to understand whole Dhamma is in the Satipatthana Sutta. Whole Satipatthana Sutta is you can reduce to mindfulness. Whenever you develop the faith upon mindfulness, it's a revolutionary different thing for a person. People believing on God, or person, or Buddha, they don't know. They think it is Dhamma is very great, very profound. They don't know. They can't see the boundaries even. It's a big subject. And they say Satipatthana Sutta, no. What is verifiable, what is you can test yourself, is sati, or mindfulness. So when that happens, no one traditional Buddhist going to reduce the whole teaching into one word. So much so, they don't have faith. They don't do this wholeheartedly. They think Satipatthana is yes, but it's a part-time job. I have to do all the other samatha also, so always mind is split. The split mind is a cancer. As the Krishnamurti says, our whole energy is completely going waste. Our mind is always split. Whenever it is come together, then you are a completely different person. So if you can believe faith or desire only on mindfulness, it is something achievable task. And when that is gathering, ultimately you will understand what is the teaching of the Satipatthana Sutta. You will teach the whole Tipitaka, and you will understand who is the Buddha is. So therefore this faith, if you take the country of Sri Lanka, do you know how difficult to convince people the main thing for Buddhist, practical Buddhist life is sati or mindfulness? It is so dangerous to tell, because all the other religious people have taken the authority. They don't like this kind of thing. That is why we keep doors fixed and everything we talk and teach here, not allowing any people to come in. Very dangerous. Very dangerous, that faith. And some people say, this is satanic. It's completely negative, killing Buddhism. The refining everything and telling that faith upon mindfulness is the crux of your teaching, they think this is the way you are killing the tradition, killing the culture, killing the Buddhism. So therefore they look at with the odd way to them for that kind of teaching. So much so it is difficult for one to understand the faith, if it is verifiable faith. Even though we Buddhists, we know that in this very life concept, but even then, just to reduce your whole spiritual life into the faith, the mindfulness, and have a faith upon yourself, your own mindfulness, it is a big change or crux of your teaching, crux of your change. So it is very difficult. So therefore one has to go prepared. Your faith so far on these triple gems. Now you are adding a third aspect that becomes very prominent, your own mindfulness. And don't worry that Buddha will get angry with you. Never. By keeping the mindfulness in forefront, never. Because he knows this is the way it is leading you to get rid of the Pancha Nivaranas, so 5 hindrances, and gain the faith. And then you have to understand, to gain that faith, or to gain the faith on mindfulness, it demands so much of energy. Because it's a huge task of deconditioning. Huge task of de-learning process is there. Because our mind is half corrupted. Our whole effort is so far for the gain, fame, and all the kind of worldly thing. But instead, if you are to focus the attention to the repetitive attention to the neutral object, it demands so much of energy, because that object itself is boring, monotonous, lethargic. Don't give any fame, gain, money, nothing. So therefore, so much of effort you need. So therefore, once you started mindfulness, your whole the faculties are mobilized. You become like a mobilized army. Not in the army, in the barrack. So much you start. Some people, when they are in meditation, when they are really in the momentum, 2-3 nights they can't sleep. Mind becomes so activated, day and night. You can see the flux, you can see the energy, you can see the light. Even though you are in a sleeping position, mind never rests. And then only you will understand, now only you know, but even if you are not meditating, your mind never rests. Recently they have done experiment in America just to see a person who is awake and person who is sleeping, how is the activity of the mind and what are the kind of rays it is emitting. No difference. Whether you are asleep or awake, mind is completely working. But you think you are resting and your mind is at rest while in sleeping. No, your subconscious is working and your repressed or your pent-up energies are working. So when you are in the meditation, when you are the kind of striving or energy, you will understand, even if you are sitting, even if you are walking, whatever may be, the basic, or going to say in a vehicle, slow run is there. Whatever the gear you do, engine is running. Something like you have to understand the energize. Once you energize through mindfulness, imagine the Buddha, after the enlightenment, 45 years. Each day 18 or more hours. Working. No rest. And I heard Ajahn Brahm, he says people are talking about they are multitasking and working and kind of thing. Imagine a monk, 365 days. All the 12 months. All the 52 weeks. Each and every day. So much of working. No, don't feel tired. Because they start with mindfulness. When that engine started, it knows the balance. And that energy at the beginning costing so much. But many things that throughout the life you are exerting that much of energy, no. At the beginning the launching energy or initial energy is consuming so much, and that energy is leading to sustenance energy. Then you know how to get the job done with the least amount of effort or effortless way. And ultimately you give it to the autopiloting and only the wisdom is working. Very little fine-tuning only you have to do, it is going. Then only Dhamma is working. So people, those who are lethargic, they never exert because they think that throughout the life you have to have so much of energy. So therefore they never give a try or trial. Or they are always trying, never strive. So therefore people, those who are aroused, their energy, aroused only through mindful energies. All the others completely negative. Any energy you develop, it is self-destructive. Whenever you become mindful, it is not 1 + 1 is 2, it's more than 2. So that is the way you funnel through all the energies. Ultimately, you go beyond, go against the grain, and this not only giving the physical and mental, it's going to give a good vibration. It's contagious. That energy is contagious. That is why the Buddha says, if possible, live with true people. Live with noble people. They will not come and hug and kiss you. Never. Not like when you are back home that your family friends come and hug and kiss. So therefore they will come and kiss, God will bliss. So if you wish to have good vibration, you have to live with them because it is contagious kind of a kind of a energy. When it is coming, when it is started, when it is mobilized, it is like a everlasting machine going on. So therefore when that happens, Nivaranas can't live. Imagine a water bubble coming from the earth. And it's an artesian well. When it is bubbling up, whatever the dirt you are going to put, it wash off. You can put straw, you can put dust. Whatever you put into, that bubble is throwing it away. Likewise, when the energy aspect of the mindfulness or mindfully energize you to be mindful, that energy, any amount of nivaranas or hindrances can come. But you can understand by just looking at, naturally it is being wiped off. The Buddha says that when there is a crossroad, junction, and the vehicles are going this way and that way, Buddha is asking, can there be any accumulation of dust in the center of the crossroad? Never. Vehicles are going this way, that way, crossway. So under such circumstances, there won't be any dust accumulating in the center of the road. Likewise, when you become mindful, the accumulation of the defilements less, or the rolling stone never gather moss. So you have to rotate it. You have to do walking, sitting, and when it is happening, you can understand the energy aspect and ultimately get its own rhythm, its own pattern, and mindfulness you earn with least amount of energy, and ultimately you will reinforce the momentary mindfulness to be continuous mindfulness, gathering the momentum. And that happens for a person who live full-time meditation or residential retreat. Once the mindfulness recognized and understood, you sit 2-3 breaths time, you are fully mindful, breath ceases to exist. Unimaginable. So much of it is gathering the momentum. Earlier you take 45 minutes, 50 minutes, even if you are successful in sitting. But once the mindfulness take the faculty, once it's formed like a faculty, you just sit and immediately you come to the due mindfulness, unbelievable. So even in walking meditation, and sometimes in the walking meditation, just like in sitting, you can understand, you can experience mindfulness. Even in the day-to-day activities, when and where you feel solitude, immediately mind feel mindful. So there was one monk here, and he used to practice, and before becoming a monk, he was a lay person coming and practice. He was so happy to practice in Nissarana and with Loku Hamdro. And he go back. When you go back, his brother is running a family. This person was a bachelor. And the brother asked him, Ayya, can you look at the television and meditate? So this senior meditator told, no, I can't. Then the brother who is running the family, he says, I took a television. I asked all the people to come and sit. I meditate in the same cushion. And I can go for 3 hours. Because others are absorbed in the television, they don't disturb me. I am meditating. So my friend came and told, you see, when I go home, my brother is asking, can you do meditation in the family, in front of a television? Because whenever you develop this familiarity, your solitude is very close by. And ultimately people may be, television, they may be absorbed and they are taken by the television or drama. This person is sitting and meditating. So once the mindfulness is developed, you need not to come again and again to Nissarana. So I feel like kicking you off. What is special here? This is good for the beginners. We have to give all the condition and train them. And then you have to put into the field trials or in the national level trials, not always in the laboratory trials. So this is the way it is developing. So mindfulness itself, the energy aspect, refining and going through metamorphosis 9 times in your journey from 4 factors of mindfulness up to the 8 noble path. Mindfulness undergo 8 times shedding off its own all worn out skin and become refreshed. So therefore when it is happening, you must try to meditate the midst of sounds, pain and thoughts, and while walking and while sitting, amidst of people, everywhere when you try, more and more you develop. It is not the beginner's mindfulness or momentary mindfulness, that's a continuity of the mindfulness. Ultimately, you will think, what about the mindfulness right from the beginning of the day, opening eyes to the going to the bed, throughout bookkeeping. Throughout to be alert. Then you can understand so much patches are there. I am unmindful. These patches, I am mindful. And that does not indicate finding these patches is a bad thing, because now you accountable for whole day. So that is because at the beginning you had here and there tottering kind of mindfulness, momentary. Now you know. Now you know how to walk, now you know how to run, and now you know how to jump. That is the way the mindfulness itself become a faculty that is happening due to the early mistakes of the mindfulness. And that continuity of the mindfulness is the name what you call concentration. That can happen through the seal or zest, that can happen through the energy, that can happen through your determination, or that can happen you earn through the investigation. But whenever mindfulness is continuous, samatha means mindfulness is continuous with single object. Vipassana means even the object changes or even evolve the objects, you are mindful but consecutively, continuously. These are the two differences. So therefore, whenever you are in vipassana or the inside meditation, you can see the evolution of the object while you are concentrated, or metamorphosis of the object. But in samatha meditation, object appear, nimitta appear, it's a fixed. You get absorbed into that, you never investigate it. So therefore, mindfulness or leading, either samatha concentration or vipassana concentration, whatever it may be, that is the persistent mindfulness, steadfast mindfulness. This concentration is not so rare. And even if it is not coming, you know, as we discussed in the early part of the Dhamma, by zeal or by energy or by determination or by inquiring mind, you can gain. One day, you may see throughout you are mindful, throughout you are concentrated, here and there are some mistakes, unmindfulness or scattered mind. So that is indication, that is an indication. Earlier you are a lot of mindful, lot of unconcentrated. Now that unmindfulness reduces, and scattering mind is reducing. So that is how you can understand the concentration become a faculty. So organizing now to see your progress, and that very understanding of this faith aspect, energy aspect, mindfulness aspect, and the concentration aspect is the wisdom, not the what is you find in the Tipitaka, not what you find in the books. Not you find you in the other's mind, that how you can develop faith where there is no faith, or faith develop which is verifiable. How you can develop energized mind energy, even if you are lethargic, even you are sleepy, how to arouse it and to highlight mindfulness. And how to get the momentary mindfulness into the continuity of the mindfulness and understand how much it is related to the concentration. This is what you call the knowledge. Many people try to buy knowledge in supermarket, or try to import knowledge from the other countries, or going to export knowledge from this country. This is the way you are business Buddhism. You try to make a commodity. No, mindfulness and this. As a faculty, wisdom is, when there is no faith, you must know how to ways and means how to arouse it. When there is no energy, don't give up and get up and go. You must know how to arouse it. When there is no mindful, you know you are unmindful, no problem. You are not deprived of the basic potential or possibility of mindfulness. It is there. So how to arouse? When there is no concentration, no point of crying and asking someone, how to arouse it? So that very knowledge, if you are having that wisdom, and when and where you repetitively applying, each time a failure happen, wisdom become brighter. Wisdom become more versatile. So that is how it put into practice. So the Buddha says, not only I have the early qualities, when a disciple come to live in dependence on me, I say, you must understand these 5 faculties, because when and where the hindrances are disappearing, these faculties are the things going to fulfill that gap. And you are the very person to understand it. So therefore you are no more asking help from the outsiders or other formulas or other places. You believe your own history or your own mistakes, that is going to teach you. And at a time, faith come and rescue you. At a time, energy come and rescue. At a time, mindfulness. At a time, concentration. At a time, wisdom. So, you have these tools, you know how to make use it. The Buddha says, when and where my disciples are practicing and they refine this or verify this, they become more and more respecting, more and more venerating, more and more revering the Buddha, and they justify their living independent of the Buddha. And some people, the Buddha says, even at the end of this chapter, this itself, having reached the practicing these 4 spiritual faculties, they can consummate their direct understanding or perfection of the direct understanding by practicing these 5 faculties. Also can happen, but not stopping at that level. Then the Buddha is going to the 5 powers, 7 factors of enlightenment, and 8 noble paths. So today I would like to sum up at that level, and tomorrow we will proceed further with these 5 faculties of powers, and hope so much so far Dhamma presented will help you to increase this Thammapadhana or Irdipada or Bala, that means faculty of exertion, and 4 ways of success, and 5 faculties, 5 spiritual faculties, and then continue the regularity of the practice so that you will develop your own confidence within yourself. Thank you very much for listening.